Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here in the Fuzzy Biker Garage. Yesterday we took this Royal Enfield Himalayan 452 or 450, whichever you prefer, on a 1,000, actually it was 1,030 mile ride. 1,030 miles, so 1,000 miles in 16 hours and 1 minute. I'm pretty proud of that. It was a there and back ride. It was the first time I'd ever ridden that far. There and back means I hopped on the bike here, I drove 500 miles out, turned around and came back. Don't ever do that. Make sure you have a destination. That's one of the... Anyway, the bike, I just had a ball on it. It was comfortable. It was fun. It was all that neat stuff. Now here I've got a little list of things because I didn't want to just ramble on for hours. But I'll start with the questions that I got on the internet. I posted as I went along. I think I did 4 or 5 posts yesterday on the YouTube channel and on Facebook. And on Facebook, it's Forgotten Motorcycles on Facebook. So if you want to get to that. And I got a lot of questions, and I'll just start with the most common one was, what kind of mileage did I get? And that was also one of the surprises I had with the bike. This motorcycle, we were in Colorado and Wyoming and all that, we were getting about 66, 67 miles a gallon. We crossed Nebraska, we got about 55 miles a gallon. The other day I took it to Dubuque to do a test run for this 1,000-mile ride. I got about, that was all interstate, there and back, 500 miles, and I got about 53 miles a gallon. On this ride up there, the speed limits were 80 and traffic was moving 90-ish, and this bike did that just fine. But my fuel consumption at one point, one tank I got 37 miles a gallon, and so I slowed it down to, I think I kept it down below 85, and then it was back into the 40s, low 40s. So at 80 to 85 miles an hour, I was getting 43, 44, 42, 43, 44 miles a gallon. Over 88 miles, over 86 miles an hour, I was getting very bad mileage. And there's a thing on there that gives you the live readout of your mileage, and at one point it was reading 30 miles a gallon. So, and quite the deal. Next would be the engine and power and performance. The bike had plenty of enough power. I was fighting through where there was traffic, and you know, South Dakota and North Dakota, there's really very little traffic, and where there was traffic, I did not have to dance on the gear shifter to get through it. You know, the bike has plenty of roll-on. This is also true in Dubuque the other day when I went to Davenport. You know, the I-80 through Iowa is an incredibly congested road. The bike did it beautifully. You know, I didn't have to shift up, shift down. It just, in 6th gear, had plenty of roll-on speed, plenty of power, great brakes, great handling. It's a very smooth engine. It is not it is a single cylinder, but it doesn't act like one. It's just, you got to get to a dealer and try one out. You just got to get to the dealer and try one out. I got asked if it smooths out after 1,500 miles, and that's a very good question. I don't know the answer to that. When we've got these bikes, they had 100 miles on them, and we were just giddy to have them. So in 49 hours, we put 12 or 1,300 miles on them. And honestly, we were just having so much fun, we didn't really pay attention to that. Now I would tell you the bike at over 3,600 miles, the bike runs very smooth. It's very smooth. Vibration through the bars, pegs, seat, and mirrors. I'll start with the mirrors. I thought the mirrors were just fine the way they are. They're in a good position. You can see good out of them. I wouldn't move the mirrors. I like the shape of the mirrors and all that. So after doing a 1,000-mile ride, and I think this, you know, when you do a long ride like that, it brings out things. And the mirrors have been just fine for me until I did the 1,000-mile ride. Hour after hour, looking through those mirrors, I've decided that they vibrate just a little bit, and I don't want to live with that. So I'm going to get some aftermarket mirrors, I think. I don't know what I'm going to get. My good buddy Mark, he bought himself one of these, and he has some brand of mirror that's on his Honda. He has a Honda CRF, I think, and I'm going to talk to him and see what he has, because that should be able to help us out quite a bit. Going to the pegs. That's something that really amazed me. I had no leg problem on that 1,000-mile ride, very little, if any. I mean, you know, I had to stretch my legs periodically. I consider this very tight. This is very tight through here. And also, you know, there's been a lot of talk about the vibration in the pegs. And I noticed that, you know, initially I thought there is vibration in the pegs. I did a 1,000-mile ride yesterday, and my legs were very comfortable, and my feet were very comfortable, so I didn't really have anything there. Same with the grips. I had my hands on those grips for hours after an hour, and there was no problem. It just, you know, they didn't start to feel like baseball bats or anything like that. It just, it was very comfortable. And I had gloves on the whole time. Will I put grip puppies or something like that on there, or maybe different grips? At this point, I'd say no. I'd say no. I don't think I will. Another surprise, this is a fly-by-wire throttle, and the tension stays the same no matter what position it is. And it's not a great tension. There's tension there, but it's not, you know, my hand never got, oh, I'm tired of holding this throttle. You know, it's pulling on my hand. I never got that. So that worked out very well. Comfort, seat, and ergonomics. So the seat is a absolute joy. This is the pack I had on the bike. I was going to show you all that. So the seat is wide through here, narrow through here. It's got this, you know, it's relatively flat. It's got this up thing, which the last Himalayan had when I didn't like it on the last Himalayan. On this bike, this has just not been a problem. You know, what happens is those of us that are male have a little issue with that front hump. Does not have that on this. The seat is incredibly comfortable. It's pretty firm. I will be wearing that out. It's already got 3,600 miles on it. And when it wears out, I'm going to get the touring seat. And I think the touring seat is made of a couple different kinds of foam, and it's supposed to be extra firm. So I will be going to that. So the seat is a winner to me. Geometry, I already talked about the tight leg spots. When you're sitting on the bike, I lean slightly forward. My arms are about this. My forearm is even with my elbow, just about, maybe a little higher than my elbow, but not much. And it's a very relaxed position, you know, a very natural position, and I'm very happy with that. And it's a good place to be. I sat on this, like I said, for 16 hours yesterday, and I would say it's got excellent geometry. Handling short-term and long-term, how did the bike handle? It handles very well. It's got a long wheelbase. It's 59.4 inches. That's 1,500 millimeters. It's very stable. But yet it's got this light front end. I don't know what kind of voodoo they worked in. It's got a very low center of gravity, but it handles like a much smaller bike. It handles a lot better than the old Himalayan right there. And I was just very impressed with that. How about the long ride, you know? So the long ride was yesterday, 1,000 miles. And one thing I got to say is I never had to wrestle with this bike. I never had to fight with it. I never had to worry about it. It just was very compliant, both engine, throttle, suspension. In every way, there was no problem with the bike, other than I wish I had a bigger fuel tank. It just did very, very well. Tires and suspension. So this is the stock tire. Let me grab a flashlight here. Isn't that a cool flashlight? And that has got 3,600 miles plus on it. It's not too bad. These are not the wear indicators here in the center of the tire. They're down here somewhere. Anyway, it's far off the wear indicator yet. If that tire has great feel. I'm very impressed with it. If that tire will make it to 10,000, I'll probably put them back on again. I think that's a good tire. We had them on rocks, we had them on dirt, we had them on wet dirt, we've had them on everything. The only place where I think it might fall short would be sand, pea gravel, and a lot of mud. You know, if you got on mud, I think there's just not enough tread there to do anything for you. Same with the front. I'll go with that in the front as well. Hey, look at that, a rock. Next thing on my list is lighting in the dark. Well, I left at 4 a.m. and it was dark. I cleaned my headlight off. See all the bugs on there? Before I left. And the lighting, so you're gonna love this answer. Lighting was good. It was the best lighting of any motorcycle I've ever had. And I wish I had more light. So, you know, it did very well. The light as a factory light was great. If I was going to do a lot of night riding, I would get auxiliary lights. I'd put them down low so they lit up the road, maybe off to the sides a little more. Forward, it was very good. When you're a motorcycle rider, you never have enough light. So, you know, wind protection. So, I both like and do not like this windshield. I like how small it is, but I wish it was bigger. I think it does good wind protection. It kept the wind off my chest from about here down. I still wish it was bigger. I have not been in a big rain with it. I think I've ridden 10 or 20 miles of rain in it. I wish it was bigger. If they make a bigger one, I will buy it. This is the stock one is about right here. This is like this. What's nice about this one is if I get a Garmin, I can put it up here. I think I can anyway. And we'll just see what happens there. But is it an improvement over the old one? I don't know. I haven't rode, or the stock one. I haven't rode the stock one, so I don't know the answer to that. They threw this on the bike at the last minute. I asked them to, and they did it, and I appreciate it. I'm glad I have it. Is it a massive problem? No, it's not. You know, I wear this this Shoei Neotech 2 helmet, and I wear a Royal Enfield jackets. I've got the Neo. I think I wore the Nervik jacket yesterday. You know, when you have good gear on like that, windshield becomes a luxury, you know? So no, moving on. What do I got here? Electronics, handguards. I want handguards. Royal Enfield makes some really cool handguards for these. They're not available yet, at least as far as the other day when I was at Baxter Cycle. But when they come in, they look good. They're heavy duty. When they come in, I'm getting a pair. I want the handguards. That'll give me good wind protection, good bug protection. The fronts of my gloves were just, well, they look like this. I wore 2 sets of gloves yesterday. Moving on, electronics and dash. So with the dash, I like the dash. I really do. It's a great thing. Now, it's going to look blurry because that's how the GoPro does it. But it's easy to read. It's got a tack on the outside. It's got this speedo right there. It's got the neutral light, the gear indicator in the center. There's, mileage is 3678 right now. It's got the time. It's got the ambient temperature. It's got this fuel gauge. It's got all the neat stuff that you want. Right now it's in dark mode. When you get outside, it'll go to light mode automatically. And you can set that to do that or not. You can choose what things show up. There's an option there for that. And I like the dash. Electronics, like the nav system and the mirroring and all that stuff, I don't know how to make it work. We tried to make it work. We couldn't get it to work. We're gonna work on that. How's that? We will see what we can learn with that. But I do wish it was easier to see when I was sitting on the bike. It's in a spot where if it was just a little taller or maybe a little farther back, I could see better. When I have my full face helmet on, if I have, you move your helmet around when you're riding. When I have the helmet up, I have to look down to see the dash. When I have the helmet down, I can see it, but just barely. It would be nice to have it more visible. Now, I get why they have it down here. Same with the windshield. These things are small, and this is low, and this windshield is small because, this is a bike that's made to be ridden in the rough. And you don't want things like that sticking out in the air. Now, I happen to ride lots of long miles to get to the rough, so, it would be nice to have something different. Moving on, I've got what surprised me. This should not have been a surprise. Bad fuel mileage. I did the test ride the day before. I think I mentioned this already. I did the Davenport trip, 500 miles, all interstate, got 53 miles a gallon. I did the trip, the 1,000-mile ride, and I got really crappy mileage. I already talked about that. And that was a surprise. I do wish it had a bigger gas tank. Now, having said that, it's got a 4-gallon gas tank. It says it's 4.5, but there's 4 useful gallons, and I know that because I ran out of gas. I ran out of gas at the gas station and it took 4.01 gallons to put gas in it. So there you go. I'm probably the only person on the planet that would benefit from that. Or, there are very few of us. If you're trail riding or stuff like that, when we were out in the middle of Wyoming and Colorado and places like Utah, we were getting in the high 60s. So there's plenty of fuel. We never once, worried about fuel. I did on this trip, I did carry this, it's a 2.5 liter bottle of fuel, and I did not have to use it. What happened is I ended up making 1 extra stop going up for fuel and 1 extra stop coming back down for fuel. So I had really good plans, they didn't work. Mirrors, I already talked about that. Throttle tension, this is really cool. Maybe I mentioned it, or I think I did. It's fly-by-wire, and there's a, when you are on the bike and you let out the clutch slightly in first gear, the bike picks up RPMs. And that's been a big thing about, we can't get away from a dead stop. And when we first got these bikes, we were struggling with that. And we got home and my buddy Mark, one of the salesmen at Baxter Cycle, he takes the bike out, comes back, and he says, hey guys, look at this. You don't give the bike any gas. You just let the throttle out and it picks up a little bit. You start moving and then you give it the gas, and it works fabulously. Now the other one is, like I mentioned already, the spring tension is constant and it's not heavy. So it's when you're riding down the road at speed, you don't have that fatigue, throttle hand fatigue. I never had that. 1,000 miles, 15, 16 hours yesterday, never had that. And the other one, and I don't know if I can't prove this one, but I think at different speeds, they've adjusted the throttle to act differently so that you have a constant amount in your head. You don't have to, older bikes, a throttle might work differently at low speed or high speed, and this bike seems to have a constant thing. So I already talked about this, I think, a little bit. I'm going to go back into it. The bike was compliant, easy to use, friendly. I had such a good experience with the bike. The bike it made the ride a dream. It was comfortable. It handled well. It never argued. It just did everything. So it didn't sputter or spit or buck. I did not, in 1,000 miles, I didn't get one kidney punch. Not one, from the rear suspension. It just did everything so well. The brakes work fabulously. The suspension is a dream. You know, it's I am a Royal Enfield fanboy, but I'm going to tell you right now, this thing is a treat. Then I guess I should throw this in. I should throw this in the beginning, but you know, back to the engine. You know, and I'm thinking about that now because of how smooth the engine ran for me. 40 horsepower from a 450. You know, there's 390s and 400s out there that have that much horsepower or more. Well, this is a little overbuilt. And what that means is it's more reliable, in my opinion. It also has more torque than most of the other 400s out there. And it also has room to be improved. You know, I think in the near future, okay, they're already making a cat delete pipe for it, and I want one of those. I don't want a different muffler, not yet anyway. I'd like to keep the look and the sound, you know, as much as possible. Look at the coloring of my pipe here. They're going to be coming out with cams, certainly Fuel X, and a DNA filter. Air filter's up here, by the way. We're going to do a video where I take the tank off. We took the tank off, comes right off. I mean, one bolt, the connections, well, I'll do a video on that. Anyway, so there's a lot of room to improve this engine. And because it's a 450 and it's overbuilt, it's going to take it so well. It's just going to take it so well. You know, it really says something that I hopped on a bike at 4:20 in the morning, rolled out of here, 16 hours later came back, and I was more in love, deeply in love. I wanted to ride the bike more. You know, I feel like I know this bike better now. I just feel like it was a real experience, you know. I don't want to get too dramatic or crazy there, but it's a real fabulous machine, and it's a friend. It's a good friend. It really is a good friend. So what about me? What about me? Poor old me. The ride. So 1,000-mile ride is a very demanding thing. It was for me anyway. It took a lot out of me. I was, you know, I've done a lot of 500 and 600-mile rides. I've done several 700-mile rides. I think the longest ride I had before this was either 790 or 820. But I've always gone from one place to another, you know, when I've done those things. And it took a lot out of me to go the 1,000 miles. And I think one of my big problems was I planned this ride as a there and back, simply to do a 1,000-mile ride. And that you know, when you have I'm going to go there, turn around and come back ride versus I'm going to go from here to there to enjoy the ride to get there and then enjoy the place when I get there. You know, there's a lot of different mindset there. You know, you feel like you're almost doing something for nothing. I don't think a there and back ride is a great 1,000-mile ride. I had fun doing it. I appreciated doing it. I learned a lot about the motorcycle. You know, I accomplished several goals. One was learning about the motorcycle. And but I think if I did it again, I would do you know, from here to Virginia. You know, that's 1,000 miles or something like that. And I think that would be a more admirable way to enjoy the bike. A better way. I think that would be a better way to enjoy the bike. The idea of riding 1,000 miles just for the sake of riding 1,000 miles, it's, you know, it's cool and all that. But would I do it again? I don't know. You know, have I got that out of my system? I doubt it. I'm guessing there's more 1,000-mile rides in the future. Am I going to do the 1,500-mile in one day thing? I don't see myself doing that. I had a lot of fun with the 1,000. Nothing wrong with the 1,500, but I just don't see myself doing that. So what I got coming up in the future? I'm going to go camping here in a couple days. There's my camping gear. I'm going to put that on the back of the bike. I've got a trip to Colorado. I think I'm not sure. I'll look at the book, but I think it's Sunday. This coming Sunday. Today is Monday. And we're going to go out there for a week. A friend of mine has a Himalayan out there, and we're going to do all kinds of bopping around out there. He has the new Himalayan also. He just got it the other day. I've got, you know, I've got a lot of plans, but September, you know, we're in September, so the riding season's coming to an end. Now, you know, I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank y'all, the viewers. You guys, you've made this a lot of fun for me, and every time I do one of these videos and I get the questions and I get the camaraderie, and I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate y'all. Y'all, you know, you make it worth. I'm just some old guy with a GoPro and a laptop who loves to ride motorcycles. That's why I do this. I'm retired. It's better than watching TV or going to the cafe every morning and sitting around a table with a bunch of old guys talking about life insurance and investments and your health. So this is what I do. And I really appreciate y'all. I really do. You make it fun, and I appreciate Baxter Cycle, and I appreciate Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield is a company. You know, they were eager to lend us these motorcycles right off the bat. Baxter's has been so good to me. I really appreciate all their help. And on that note, if y'all need a brand new or used Royal Enfield Triumph classic British bike of any type, parts, accessories, thingamajigs, doodads, is that a song? Hats, gloves, boots, jackets, shirts, socks, underwears, go to Baxter Cycle in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa, or go to baxtercycle.com. Make sure you tell those fine folks that fuzzy biker, that's me, sent you. Make sure you tell them that. You know what? Just send them an email. Say, Wahoo! Nothing else, just Wahoo. Anyway, they can help you out. They can help you out. Now, it's the beginning of a beautiful day. I'm going to edit this video up, and then I'm going to go hop on that motor. Wait a minute. Maybe I'll hop on this motorcycle. What is this? Oh, a friend of mine has lent me his rally. Maybe I'll hop on this motorcycle. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. And go for a bike ride. Y'all do the same if you can. Life is good. Wahoo! Yippee-yi-yay! Yippee-yi-yo! Down the road we go! Beautiful, beautiful machine.